I'm going to be recording the Uranus planet numbers and see how they stack up with the Sun, the Moon, Jupiter, Uranus itself, Mercury, Venus, Neptune, Saturn, and Mars. And when you combine the birthday number 1 through 31 possible days with Uranus, it forms a third personality when you combine the two, and that's why people get along one way with somebody and another way with somebody else. But we're going to start to give you the variables, and there's even more variables because, like, if you take the sun, it's number one basically. Whether it's 1 or 10, you hit up 1 and 0, it's 1, or 19, 1 and 9 is 10, which is 1, and 28, which is 2 and 8 is 10, is 1. When you reduce the numbers by addition, they all wind up to be 1, but they all have their own tendencies. So, and if I were to break down each sign by 4 or 5 numbers and go into it, you just about have to write a book. So I'm making this very basic, but this will be the Uranus planets and how they fare with the various other planets. Now, when you put Uranus with the Sun, as I just explained, it turns into Mercury, which means the people will have good communication, but it'll be variable. They'll be juggling their schedule and activities all the time. They can change and travel. Is very possible, but a lot of movement because Mercury's quicksilver. Now remember, the Sun is 1-4, so there would tend to be a relationship with the Mercury numbers 5, 14, and 23rd day of any month. But because the Sun is related 1-4, it'll also be a relationship with anybody born on the 4th, 13th, 22nd, or 31st day of any month because of the Sun's relationship with Uranus. Now, because the Uranus is a very stubborn, fixed, kind of disciplined, stuck in the mud type of planet, and it's considered oppositional in a lot of ways because it's my way or the highway. The Sun can get along with Uranus because of that 1-4 combination. If you take Uranus 4 and you add it to the Moon, you get 6, which is Venus. And Venus, of course, is the 6th, 15th, or 24th day of any month. And don't forget, there's 2-7. When you talk about the Moon, you're talking about Neptune association also, which is the 7th, 16th, or 25th day of any month. And Venus usually looks like an attractive couple. There would be responsibilities, a lot of things to do with the home, and home situations and family would be prominent in their life. Now, if you take Uranus and Jupiter, which is the 3 series, 3, 12, 21, or 30th, it turns into Neptune, which means it's a learning relationship. The people would learn a lot from each other, and they would also learn about the differences between people, and it would cause them to be more open-minded. But religious or philosophical things would come up, and spiritual things, and it would be a real learning experience. And Neptune always draws medical or beauty or health field, or anybody who works around beauty, health, or chemicals. If you take Uranus and Uranus, you're talking about two people that are too stubborn and too fixed themselves. It's kind of like, and it turns into Saturn, which is, again, almost like Neptune, a very learning experience. A lot of Saturnians are almost cloistered or isolated people in some way, but they're usually pretty studious. But it's a very financial vibration because it turns into the 8, which means they would deal with property, assets, legal, or insurance issues. With 4 and Mercury, you get 4 and 5, it's 9. And Mercury, of course, is the 5th, 14th, or 23rd of any month, and it relates to Gemini or Virgo. And it turns into Mars, which is the 9 series, which I always say is very intellectual, but very volatile. And 9s always have to do with letting things go or endings. When you take the 4 and Venus, 4 and 6 is 10, and Venus is the 6th, 15th, or 24th day of any month, and it relates also to Taurus or Libra, both signs. And it turns into the Sun. It means that the people would be kind of independent souls when they're together, but because it turns into the 10-1, the people are always remembered as a couple by other people. In a way, they would be considered like a very noticeable couple. Now, when you take Uranus and Neptune, the 4 and the 7, and don't forget 7's associated with the moon, it's 2-7, it turns into a moon number, so doubly so. It's kind of a very limelight type of relationship or public, and issues of privacy could come up in a relationship, and there would be an association with people born on the 7th, 16th, or 25th, the 2nd, 11th, 20th, or 29th day of any month. It'd be a very emotional relationship because of the fixed with the moon, because when you get the Neptune birthday and the moon as a result, they can get along, but very emotional, very different. When you get Uranus and Saturn, it comes up to 4 and 8 is 12-3, which is a Jupiter number, but there'll be some sacrifice to the plans or problems of others involved in that relationship. And people born on the 3rd, 12th, 21st, or 30th of any month would come into the relationship, as well as March or Pisces and December or Sagittarius people. When you talk about Uranus and Mars, it goes back to a Uranus type of thing. It's somebody that would be considered oppositional, and the 13 is considered a bossy, a self-centered vibration or me first type of thing. So there would be some challenges there with a double Uranus. Uranus is considered a little oppositional, but very fixed, very stubborn, questions of discipline, order, and all the ducks being lined up is always a big issue with Uranus.